Um, let's thank our sponsors, Arm Assassin Strength Shop and Garage Door Guys in KC. Shout out to the Patreon members. We have a couple alpha ones that we have to mention. Jeff Frank, of course, is one of them, and Zane William Nisley is the other, and Mr. Herman Stevens. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, guys?
Now, are you protecting yourself from looters, or what's happening here?
Yeah, you never know, man. It's getting crazy down here. There's gunshots throughout the night. People are losing their minds, and I'm sitting on about 1,200 rolls of toilet paper. So
you got to protect your investment.
Yeah. Also, there's this crazy barred owl that has been tripping lately. So, got a little something for him.
Right on. I'm going to zip over quickly to the YouTube page and make sure we're live. Gabi, did you see the notification? Oh, yeah, we're live.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Comment section. Let's hear something from you. Yeah, we're good. We have a wow. All right, Herman. Let's talk a little bit about you. How did you get into the sport of arm wrestling? And we'll try to ignore the fact that you're about to shoot intruders.
All right, I'm going to put this down for a second. If you see something behind me, please let me know.
We will.
I've got my front covered, but if you see something behind me, let me know.
At least you know that Chris Gabi is somewhere else right now.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I just tore down the old shed. That was supposed to be Gabi's guest house. But he never did the renovations on it. It was pretty disgusting.
I should have made more trips down. It's only 7,000 miles.
Yeah.
Have you guys actually met in person before?
Not once.
Not once.
Wow. All right, man. All right, Herman. Welcome to the show. You're on. This is like almost an Arm Hub reunion. Missing one guy. Maybe we can get him on here at some point. And let's talk about your history, Herman. How'd you get into everything? How did you start as an arm wrestler?
Okay, so I guess I've always been like the classic overachiever, So I guess early college, I was taking like 19 hours of school, working 40 hours a week, maybe playing basketball 12 hours a week. And so schedule was always just kind of jam-packed. And I guess halfway through college, between saving up enough money and then understanding that maybe the engineering classes might get harder, I shut everything down. I went to 13 hours of school, 0 hours of work, and just kind of had nothing to do. Then I realized that I still didn't have to study for those engineering courses, and I was bored out of my mind. I mean, so bored to the point where I was Googling hobbies, like what do you do with your time type thing. And just so happened I was shooting ball one day at the gym, and one of the custodial staff was watching, and I said, "Hey, man, come get a few shots in." And he said, "Oh, no, I can't. My shoulder is destroyed." And I said, "Well, what happened to your shoulder?" He says, "Oh, well, I'm an arm wrestler, or I was an arm wrestler." And turns out it was a guy named Jason Vincent, who I think at 121 or 132 probably has a silver at WAF. Not around anymore. I mean, well, he's living, but he's just not around the sport anymore. He's one of that like Team Louisiana old guard type of guys or whatever. So hell of an arm wrestler and nice guy. And so I didn't think much of it. And then, over the course of a couple of weeks, it was kind of gnawing at me, man. Hey, this arm wrestling thing. And, of course, I was one of those guys that, would never get beaten by my peers. And I looked it up on YouTube, found Joey Fitz, found Ryan Timms, eventually made it to the guys like Ray Hendricks and Craig Touye.
Right on. And then the rest is kind of history. And you've gotten, recently, we've seen you go over to Zloty a couple of times. How many times have you been over there?
3 times.
And what is your best finish?
Best finish was actually the first time I went. And that was a 3rd place right-handed in a 95 kilogram class. I did better than Prudnik did that day, although I'm sure he was a little bit injured. I beat Vasily Dautis. He has wins on Brzezinski. He's a multi-time WAF world champion. He's like a Georgian national hero. And funny enough, a couple Georgian guys, after I lost to Angabayev, they approached me and said, "Man, you're really strong." And I said, "No, that guy's strong," pointing to Angarbayev. And they said, "No, but you're the only one to slow him down."
Oh wow.
So that tells you how strong Angarbayev is that if you just slow him down, the Georgians will think you're strong.
Wow.
Yeah, but doesn't Sean Hancock have wins on you? I mean, that kind of discredits your Nemiroff victories, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
No.
I mean, they were the last two of a 6-round super
I know.
match. I had already won the first 4. You know, interesting about that match, we agreed to PAL rules, and I think it was probably called worse than a WAL match.
Not possible. Not even possible.
Oh, it was definitely possible. It's amazing how the referee changes when I'm on the table in Mississippi. Might be something going on there. I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where you go to the tournament. It's like, hey, which one of these is not like the other? You know, that little rhyme the kids sing or something.
I'm not sure what you're saying.
I don't know what I'm saying either, man.
Well, we got. I noticed you posted. I've got it pulled up on my screen here. You made a video asking for help needed, and for some content on the show. So you want to fly through some of that quick, or do you want to visit your IFA? So
Yeah. Let's talk about the whole IFA thing. So in December, I competed in both the IFA World Championships, the first one, and the Zloty Tour. You know, it's my 3rd time or whatever, and got a lot of questions regarding those events. You know, for instance, you know, I keep getting, you know, why pull 2 tournaments back to back, right? Why do IFA, which was scheduled before Zloty Tour, and risk a Zloty performance, risk a potential top 8 appearance, you know, because I competed before then. And so I guess I'll go through some of that. Well, let me just explain what happened that week. So IFA started on Thursday, and that was the left-hand competition. Brutal day. I mean, you know, you have the time change, the lack of sleep, you know, all that stuff. I get there pretty early. I acclimate to the time change. So I'm waking up at my normal time, but of course in their time zone. So 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. I'm an early bird. But my class doesn't start until maybe 3 p.m. or something like that. So it's kind of a long, lazy day. Try not to do too little, but try not to do too much before your day starts, because you know you're going to be pulling well into the night. And again, if I'm waking up super early, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, and I'm starting at 4 p.m. and I'm going to be pulling until 10 p.m., I typically go to bed at 7 or 8 p.m. It's a very long day for me. So wake up early, kill time during the day, go to the event around 3 p.m., you know, start pulling not too long after that. And I don't know, I think we were wrapping up at around 10 p.m. So I felt that was the biggest challenge on for the IFA on Thursday. So I think I went through the 95 kilogram class undefeated to the final 2, right? Undefeated. And so my hit was there. I was pretty explosive. And then we get the break. And I just knew it. I just knew this damn break was going to kill me, especially the type of puller that I am. And sure enough, it's time for the finals. I don't know if it's might be 9 p.m. or 9:30 or something like that. And I'm just dead. I mean, anyone could look at me and I look like a walking zombie. It's bedtime, you know, all that stuff. Sure enough, we go to the table, and I think the guy's name is Peter, and I think he's got to be like 6'5" or something like that. Nasty top roller, dumped wrist. This is just stuff that gives me problems anyway. And this dude's just yanking me across the table. So he whacks me, and I'm like, okay, wake up. And I just couldn't get moving. I think I ended up fouling out, trying to get to the straps. Had I gotten to the straps, I don't think anything would have mattered. The speed wouldn't have mattered. Reaction time wouldn't have mattered. I think I would have just thrown him across the table, even if he would have gotten me close to the pin line. And so that was a bummer. You go into the finals undefeated, and you go 0-2 in the finals and lose what is the first IFA World Championship to a guy that I think is that I'm clearly stronger than. Fast forward to Friday, again, same thing. Now I'm even more fucked up because I just stayed up till, probably midnight at this point, because you finish at 10 p.m. and actually, let me think. I think I got drug tested that night, right? So even after I get
the Thursday night?
Yeah, I think I got drug tested. As soon as they gave me my second place medal, which was disappointing enough, it's 10 p.m., it's late, I'm ready to go to bed. They say, come to the back. I go and get drug tested, and I'm back there with two other guys, and I don't know their names. They obviously look like they might be on some substances, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, again, which one of these is not like the other? Why am I back here? And, I mean, I look like a sack of shit. You know what I mean? I'm like the fattest, smallest, heaviest guy in the class, maybe. It's really not a good look. And I just don't understand how I ended up back there. It is not a random draw. They can go off suspicion. Excuse me. The only thing I can think about was because I was just crashing people all day and raging across the stage that they said, this guy's got a little more going on here. And fun times back there. I was cracking a lot of jokes that I don't think, some really good content that I don't think any of the people really understood. But I mean, it was super professional. It was a sealed kit. You open it up, you piss in it. They watch your penis, all this stuff.
Really?
And,
so they actually.
Oh yeah. This guy was in, looking over my shoulder type thing. So I guess he is my first if we're going that direction.
Looks like John missed his perfect job opportunity.
Exactly. Oh, let me tell you something. There are plenty of arm wrestlers and arm wrestling fans. You get those weird messages from people. Yeah. I know they would have loved to have been my test administrator.
Yeah.
During that time. But and I've never done this before, so I piss in the thing, and I mean, I'm so full of fluids. You know what I mean? Like the cup's overflowing. There's piss all over the back of the toilet. And again, I don't know the procedure, so I take the cup and I just kind of swing it over to the guy. But he was so close on me. I mean, I don't think I splashed him, but he jumped back really quickly and was kind of pissed. There was piss all over the place. And we sealed it up, and that was kind of the end of it. Long damn night, just ridiculous. Start the next day, same thing. You wake up at 5 a.m., you didn't get any sleep. You stay up all damn day doing absolutely nothing. There's damn near no sunlight. It's raining all day. Start pulling again at 3 or 4. And again, same thing, crashing everybody, lighting people up. And I get the Peter guy again, right? Again, 6'5", dumped wrist top roller. And what happens? He, oh crap, there's a bird. I just saw a notification. Okay, it's not the owl. Okay. I'm not worried about the small birds. I'm really worried about the owl. But I think we're good until about 7 p.m. So he top rolls me. We both break down, and so we're kind of pulling like this. Except maybe I have his thumb. Not a good position. Normally, I just slip that match and go straight to the straps. For some reason, I just felt it was better to hold on. And so we end up in a long match with me holding his hand like that and him dumped and kind of burning up, I think, his bicep because he was a little stretched out. And we eventually slip. We go to the straps, but he's not the same dude. I mean, the edge was taken off. You know what I mean? And so if I'm 100 relative to him, if I'm 100 on strength and he's a 90, the second start, I was probably a 95 and he's probably an 80 at this point. You know what I mean? He lost more than I did. And again, go to the strap. He takes my hand. I stop him stop him right at the pin pad. And I just kind of press him across the table. It really wasn't that big a deal. But now my arm's blown up. And there are other strong guys in the class. And one was this guy from Finland. And I mean, he was just kind of crushing people. And he tries to top roll. I hold onto his thumb. He elbow fouls. He tries to top roll. I hold onto his thumb. He elbow fouls. I said, thank you so much. He loses. He's pissed because I think he realized a missed opportunity. I was grateful because then now I get some, I get some rest time, and I went through the class, and no one really gave me any trouble. After that, the guy in the finals, he was a hooker, so even though I was slower, even though I was tired, that's really not something that usually gives me a problem. You know what I mean? Unless it's like a super elite style hooker. So
But he put
I was able to win.
he put the brakes on, didn't he? Like he stopped you. It wasn't that.
He did, and I really, I crushed him early, like in
Okay.
the early rounds. Like, it was bad.
Okay.
And I think it was because I just didn't have my pop and all that stuff. But he caught me in the hook, and it's not a big deal. I was on this side of the table. I came up quick, blocked with the shoulder, and I pinned him. It wasn't a long match or anything like that. But again, that was a styles thing. If I had met up, I think, with another top roller, I could have been in trouble. Like I said, I just didn't have the pop. It's too long of a day. And I don't run like, certain gear or stimulants or any of that stuff. Maybe I should. I don't use caffeine. But in that situation, I probably need to get outside my box and just load up,
It is the one thing I will use between, because that break kills me too. If you're in the finals and they pause, I'll load up on the caffeine before the final just because I got to get that fire back somehow.
Yeah, and if it's only 2 matches and maybe it's only 30 minutes and you're not waiting too long, it's not that bad. I guess my concern, I wouldn't want to do it early in a tournament and you're crashing over the next 8 hours and taking more and crashing and all that stuff. But lesson learned. Like I said, I think I'll probably take that step next time.
So the right arm, you ended up in what position?
First place. So
World
the first ever IFA 95 kilo champ. Right-handed.
So before we get on to the Zloty stuff, what is your thoughts on the fact that the General Secretary of WAF is accusing the IFA of doing fake drug tests or not drug testing at all, which we obviously know isn't true?
Yeah, I don't believe it. I saw the tests. I saw the kits. Now, granted, they don't have to send the kits anywhere, So, I guess they could do that, but I don't think WAF has the best credit with respect to testing. The president's from Bulgaria, and Sasho's won how many WAF world titles in the last 5 years? Come on. You don't really get many people that are 5'3" tall and are 205 pounds with relatively low body fat. I don't care how special you are.
Yeah.
When they did all that testing or like historical research over, what's attainable, natural. I think it was something like if you're 5'10" and you're 200, maybe 210 pounds, and you have like really low body fat, you're like on that edge of what's attainable, natural. And now you've got this guy that's 5'3" and he's 205 pounds.
He's really really 5'9", 5'10", right? Sasho's about 5'9", isn't he? Or you just
no,
really?
He is 5'3", Gobby.
No,
the dude is he's a next level freak. He's a freak with or without drugs. But you know what I mean? Specifically the WAF president, Hassan or whatever from Bulgaria, with his Bulgarian, Wonder Boy, he has no right to be calling anyone out on drug testing policy.
They're just bitter and shooting darts wherever they can shoot darts. They have no ground. They're just bitter and they know they're losing the game. They're losing the battle.
Well,
that organization is literally like monkeys in a barrel.
Yeah.
I can tell you that when I was at the World Championship, one of the past ones, there was myself, Pushkar, and Barboza, and there was 3 cards on the table, so it wasn't random. They would take the top 3 and you would draw a card, and one of you would get tested. And they really wanted to test Barboza for some reason. And they leaned over to me and whispered in my ear, "Don't pick the one in the middle." And then, so I picked the one on the right, flipped it over, nothing on it. Pushkar reaches in, picks the one in the middle. They didn't test Marcio. And away he goes on a golf cart and gets tested. So there's shenanigans happening all over the place.
Corrupted motherfuckers.
Correct. And I think if you're going to some of these events, I would hope IFA is a little different, but specifically WAF, and you're an American, I think you're going to get tested. I'm sorry. If you're an American and you do really well, you're going to get tested And I think we'll talk about that later.
We're going to revisit this.
I think we'll revisit that specifically.
I will make a note to bring that up. So we're going on to Zloty. Is that where we're at now? You want to talk about the Zloty tournament?
Yeah, so we're at Zloty, and I mean, I'm done. Like, I mean, I already know. I can just tell, and arms are hurting a little bit. But you know, even if you're not completely destroyed, even if you're not in excruciating pain, what, you're 90%, 80%, 70%, you have no fucking shot. You know what I mean? Like, for me to do well as Zloty, I mean, almost I have to be 115%. You know, so nothing special happens there. I think I win one match left-handed, lose the next two. You know, meet some cool people. You know, I met Bowen. Bowen's a nice guy, and I met him before or whatever. But I kind of hung out with Australian guys and Lackey and the one on meth. What's his name? Oh, Jordan Davis. Met that guy. You know. Oh, and then Ben Carroll. Ben Carroll, like the greatest. I always say Australian, but I guess he's from New Zealand. So, but he's the best guy in Oceania, as I guess they would call it.
Is he better than that Milkman guy?
He has to be, because his name's not the Milkman. You know, like the guy's claim to fame is crushing a gallon of milk. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I can do that. Oh, hold on. His other claim to fame, and this is, what's his name, Ryan Scott, the Milkman, is he placed 8th at a WAL event. Wow. Right? This is like legend territory, you know?
Yep.
So, but yeah, left hand, yeah, nothing crazy that day. Right hand, can't remember who I lost to first. It might have been Oleg. Right, I couldn't do shit with that guy. I don't know if I could do anything with him, you know, on my best day. And then the my second and last match, I said, okay, Herman, it's your last match. Let's go out with a bang. And my right is injured at this point. I'm pretty sure it's injured. I get David Dadikian, right? The dude's a damn lightning bolt. So I proceeded to false start like 3 times in a row on him. And I mean, they're gross false starts, you know, because I need everything that I can get. And I'm barely moving the damn guy. And he's getting pissed off. He's looking at Leonard. Leonard's laughing. Fuck, I'm laughing up there because it's so ridiculous. And on the 4th start, I think he kind of slows down. We go to the hook, and he just like strokes me. And I stop him like an inch off the pad. And I'm holding, pin. And I think that fucked my elbow up, like legitimately. And I mean, I think it's only recently, I think that I'm starting to get over that. I'm not over it, actually. It was still hurting in Reno. So I'm still recovering from that.
All right.
But yeah, that's Zloty.
Right on. So what is on the horizon? I mean, obviously everybody's on hold, but if none of this COVID-19 stuff was going on, where would you be heading next?
Man, I haven't planned anything. I mean, in years, it's simply been just go to Zloty, you know, test yourself, do enough to not quit arm wrestling. Anything that happened outside of Zloty was just, oh, hey, I feel like I either need a practice event or I'm bored. So I really have nothing on my schedule besides IFA in September and Zloty in December, if that's when it happens this year. I'd probably like to get some practice in before then, but honestly, I really don't care at this point, you know.
Awesome. So what direction do you want to go? Do we want to talk about the whole drug testing thing? Because that could take us down a bit of a rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's talk drug testing, right?
Let's do that.
So what, recently, Cody Merritt, the greatest guy in arm wrestling, probably better guy than Paul Lynn, if you can believe that, tested positive at WAF Worlds, right? Guy wins gold. Probably the first American to win gold since Dave Chafee in 2010. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not 100% on that, but
yeah, big deal, rare air, like just crazy. And of course, he gets tested. You're an American, you're probably going to get tested.
He got plucked from the weigh-in lineup actually as well. So.
Oh, so before he won? Before
he even pulled.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that proves the point even further. You're going to get tested.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, I guess now you can dispute it and all this other stuff. And I don't know what the guy was on. I assume he was on some type of a TRT or therapeutic, whatever. And I'm sure he's going to deny it or say, hey, it was just for TRT or something like this. I mean, who cares? I mean, if there's any place where the rules are clear, it's WAF. And it's if you are on TRT and you need a therapeutic use exemption, there's paperwork to fill out, and it probably will get denied. I don't think many people make it through a TUE process, so there's really no excuse.
Yeah, there is one excuse: education.
Let me. Yeah, but what is it? Negligence of the law or negligence of the rules don't count. I mean,
yeah,
like if I was if I was driving through a neighborhood that I wasn't familiar with, and there were no speed limits posted, and the cop pulls me over and he says, well, speed limit's 25. And I said, well, I thought 35 was safe and I didn't know. He's probably still going to shoot me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't get a pass for negligence, and I think we all know. Yeah. And we all know how serious the stuff is. We know people get banned for 2, 4, 6, 10 years, lifetime bans and all that stuff. So, I mean, I hate that the guy failed the test or whatever, but I mean, you were on something. I mean,
yeah, I
really don't see around it. And look, I don't know anything, right? Maybe the guy had 10 cups of coffee and he got popped on caffeine. I don't know. I don't know how many cups of coffee it would take, but caffeine to a certain point is illegal also. So I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
it's a
but really, there really are no real excuses with in a WAF setting. I mean, it's on the athlete. You are responsible for what you put in your body. Blah 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 blah.
Well, it is true, and if you know you're on TRT, there is some responsibility that needs to happen about finding out exactly what you need to do to make sure you don't get banned if you are tested because you're going to test positive.
Correct. So, kind of a bummer, but I mean, I think he's going to lose that medal.
I told him he should just hold on to it forever and don't worry about it.
Yeah,
well,
they don't physically.
They don't physically come to your house and take the medal, right? I mean, the medals.
I think you're supposed to send it back.
Yeah.
And then they would, I think, reallocate that medal to the appropriate person. Although that's not real either because you just messed up the whole draw of the tournament. So,
yeah, fuck it.
They would have to send all medals back so that silver becomes gold, bronze becomes silver, all that stuff, and then fourth place gets a medal all of a sudden. We saw that with Chantal here in Canada, Gabi, when she got silver, and then the girl that won tested positive.
But you can't do that because guys like Derek Smith, who finished 8th and claimed to be 8th best in the world, now would be 9th best in the world, and that's just not the same type of title as 8th in the world. So that was
you're going the wrong way. He'd be 7th now.
7th, yeah. So I mean,
but it's probably still better than 8th at a WAL event.
Yeah.
Right. So Derek's better than the Milkman. So I don't think we should be talking about Milkman too much. Yeah, and so Joseph Levay, you guys remember Joseph Levay?
France, yeah.
That beast guy from France. So he tested positive one year in the Masters, and so he lost his gold medal. And so Ingen, I think, is the rightful first place winner. And I want to say he never sent the medal in, and Ingen's still pissed about it. At least that's what I remember from one of the posts that were made.
I'm all about taking drugs and pulling open, whether you're fucking 30 or 40. But taking drugs and going to pull Masters is kind of like, man, that's some cowardly shit. It's like if you're gonna get on that shit, go fuck, at least attack the best. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, unless your intention is to pull Masters and Open, of course, but.
Yeah. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave the Masters alone.
And then on the drugs thing, right? So like IFA Worlds, if that happens in September, like everyone that's going, like 90% of the Americans going to the IFA Worlds is going to be on drugs.
Well, we had a guest on the show recently that you know all about this, who said, I'm going to be on drugs and I'm going to Worlds and I'm going to beat the test. But they used to test, it's different now because when I got tested in Tokyo, you had your back to them. Like you went to a urinal and you filled the cup and you turned around and handed it to them. They didn't watch you actually pissing in the cup.
Yeah, but then you can use the Wizinator. You know that little strap you put on in between your legs and that little fake penis or whatever?
Yeah. I actually heard Joe used to use that to go on dates. But anyway, that's a different story.
Hey, just curious. So I remember I set a target that we have a spicy show. So far we've had a gun. We've discussed race relations multiple times, and I think I've said penis at least 3 times.
Yeah,
4 times.
and I have yet to speak. So imagine the second half of the show.
All in the course of a day.
Yeah.
We had NBK. So Drellick himself says, do you think that the powers that be in certain countries have helped certain athletes?
Yeah. So in particular, like I said, the Bulgarian president and his Bulgarian wonder child, Sasha, like that guy's protected, right?
So it's a targeting thing.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's possible that they let's put it this way: if they did drug testing, more advanced testing, and they did more tests, let's say they caught a whole bunch of people, it doesn't look good, right? WAF's trying to grow. Oh, everyone's trying to grow. It doesn't look good for WAF, WAL, PAL, any of those organizations to have a bunch of people failing drug tests. So it's in almost everyone's best interest to not report failures, right? And that applies to IFA too. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, IFA is Jesus's arm wrestling league. You know what I mean? They're nice people and all that stuff. I have no reason to distrust them, but you got to understand that certain conditions are better for certain organizations, right?
Well, public perception is funny because as soon as when somebody says, do they drug test? And you can say this one tournament does, all of a sudden it seems to mean more to them.
Yeah,
and that's really has to do with marketing and the organizations and the government sponsoring. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude, if I moved down to the South and I started a league called the Jesus's Arm Wrestling League, could it be successful in the South? Let's say Alabama or Mississippi. Can I make money as a promoter with that title?
Of course.
Yeah,
Until they get to know until they get to know you.
Yeah, then I'm fucked.
Yeah.
All right. So I had a question.
One thing on that. The reason why you'd be able to make money is because you could defer all prizes and certificates to the afterlife.
Yeah.
It sucks right now, but when you die, hey man, you'll get that golden Mississippi bulldog.
Yeah, and sure, Bart Wood fucked up 11 times, but he can redeem himself on his deathbed, right? He can always. So there's very little accountability in that league.
There you go.
You ready for some questions, Herman?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go to the comment section on Crossfire. You're a Olexician. I don't know. I'm butchering that for sure. Please ask Herman if he is planning to get back in shape.
I can even answer that fucking question.
Can he evaluate his preparation and shape on Zloty? Is he planning to post more arm wrestling content on socials? He has some good stuff.
What do you think, Chris?
Well, I think Herman is a highly intelligent, very focused guy who likes to eat and sit on the couch. So it's sometimes it fluctuates, right? Like most people in the sport, we go on benders of high focus and motivation, and then it fades. It's hard to stay in this sport. It's hard to stay 100% laser focused 52 weeks out of the year. But he has so much potential and so much natural ability that he knows that when he does put the throttle down, like I'm sure what he did for IFA, anything's possible. So of course it'll be in shape.
Yeah, so let's talk about not being in shape, right? So essentially, what you guys have seen for the last 4 years is, like work crap, relationship crap, side business stuff. I mean, just overloaded. And I think all that was compounded with, UAL disappearing, WAL sort of locking stuff down to contracts. So, I mean, perfect storm to quit arm wrestling, right? And I would say the typical American pattern, and what I've seen is, and I don't know, I just what I watch and observe, is that guys ramp up. You can get to national level 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You make your big splash, and then life happens, right? So for some people, that's having children. For some people, that's tight finances. Some of it's, hey, the wife doesn't want you doing the shit anymore. And at year 5, you sort of go on hiatus, and you come back after 2 or 3 years on the sauce or something like that. I think I'm one of very few people in this recent generation, 5 to 15 years experience, that didn't go on a complete hiatus, right? I may have ramped down, but I kept competing.
Yeah,
And
steady.
so that's kind of where I was in 2017. I said, man, I can quit, right? That was my 7 years or so. So a little bit longer, I think, than the typical cycle of 5 years. And I said, okay, if I quit, I don't know if I'm coming back. And so, and I don't like wasted time and effort and stuff like that. So I would hate to quit and then have to work twice as hard to come back. So I said, okay, let's at least go to Zloty, right? See how that goes. And if I don't feel like doing it after that, I'll quit. Went to Zloty, did really well. And I don't know if that was a requirement success. I think it was just being in that atmosphere. And I think that got me to stick on. And so I knew I had probably a 2 or 3 year plan before I was going to get back into it. And I think this is the year that I'm getting back into it. So, I mean, yeah, I cranked down for the Zloty competitions in IFA, but I mean, 6 weeks, you know, maybe last year it was maybe 12 weeks because I prepped for Paul Passmore. But this is nowhere close to what I was doing, 5 years ago. I mean, not even remotely close to what I was doing 5 years ago. And I don't know if it'll ever be that way. I mean, I've got other responsibilities, but I'm so much smarter now and more efficient that I don't have to put in that type of time, but I can do a lot more than what I've been doing. Injuries compounded on top of that and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't think it's so much that I'm lazy and like sitting on the couch. I just got other shit going on.
Yeah.
And then, so as you get older, you put on weight, all that stuff too. And as I make more money at work, I tend to sit on my ass more. So that's the real issue. It's not me sitting at home and doing nothing. It's basically sitting on my ass at work all day. And then also some of the injuries, like you mess your elbows up, and it's kind of hard to go, train consistently. You're kind of bummed out, depressed, or just in pain. But yeah, it's coming. It's coming for sure. And it doesn't have to even be because of arm wrestling. I mean, just from a health standpoint, I mean, I don't want to be 275 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So WAL calls you next week and says they got a match for you at 6:02. Do you go?
No, it's not happening. Let's ignore any of my issues with WAL. My elbow's not right, and I wouldn't want to go on that stage half-assed. And then that'd be my mark. I've made with the WAL. I don't really care for WAL too much. I mean, I've discussed this at length in the past. I just don't like the way they do shit. And I'm a very principle-driven person. And it's not that I don't believe in second chances or anything, but like I remember how they handled shit in 2014. It kind of bothers me.
Are you talking? We're talking contracts specifically.
Yeah, well, it's not just the idea of a contract because UAL had contracts, and once they got rid of them, I competed with UAL.
Yeah.
WAL in particular, they were signing people up in mass herds trying to monopolize the sport. Okay, and that's one offense, and maybe I get over that. But personally, right, they approached me, and this was some henchman, said, hey, you have to sign this contract. And I said, no, I don't. I said, let me have time to read it, whatever. And they kept pressing and pressing and pressing. So this person clearly doesn't respect my decisions and will try to boiler room me into signing some contract that would have signed my rights away for multiple years to my image and likeness. Meaning that even if I went on the local television station to report on a, minority being beaten by a cop, the WAL could have that footage pulled or sue me because I let someone else use my likeness because they own it. I don't agree with this, right?
No.
And again, this is WAL Vegas 2014. So after that event, they pressed even harder. I did really well at that event. I got 3rd out of 55, only losing to Todd Hutchings twice. And they pressed even harder because now it's like, oh man, this guy's really good. He's like screaming all over the place. This is who you want for TV and stuff. And also probably because I'm a minority, had long hair at the time. You need diversity. It just is what it is. And pressed harder. I kept saying no. So then they go get Kaplan. Kaplan came down from wherever he was to convince me to sign this contract on the spot. 5-10-page contract on the spot after telling them that I needed time to read it. That doesn't sit well with me either. Then they said, hey, how about this? If you sign this contract, we'll get you on Game of Arms too. Yeah, that's bullshit. I said, how about this? You get me on Game of Arms 2, then I'll sign the contract. And they said, okay, hey, we'll call you in a couple weeks for an interview. Now, mind you, regardless of what would have happened, I don't need to be on reality TV. It's not my thing. I'd probably turn that down too. It's just, I don't need it. They never called me back, or at least they didn't call me back when they said they would. That's fine. They called me back like a month later. And it wasn't to discuss the contract. It wasn't to talk Game of Arms. It wasn't to talk WAL. It was to tell me not to compete in UAL 8.
That was the one where they gave the car away, right?
That was the one that gave the car away. So, I mean, like this, it's like, hey, if you're a restaurant, it's like, hey, don't come eat my burgers because they're great. Just don't eat the other person's burgers. What are you offering? What are you selling? I don't know. It's kind of weird. And at this point now, like I still don't agree. They say, oh, they're free, but Rob's not going to Slotty, right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think
Rob didn't compete at New England, And again, I get it. He's in a different place. It's probably not worth the miles on his elbow. Blah blah blah. But they don't want him competing at those events.
No, they don't. It's pretty clear they don't. And there seems to be two levels of agreement. One of them is like myself, who is a one-off, and then you got like the Devin Larretts, who are under a contract. Yet, guys like Krasimir came in, took a loss, and jumped right over to PAL.
Correct. So, and that's another thing. I'm not Rob. I'm not Devin. I'm not Krasimir. So, it's not really worth my time to even entertain it. I mean, they messaged me a while back, one of the representatives, and said, would I be interested? And I mean, I thought about it. And I mean, I could have just said, yeah, and did it, but I don't know. Yeah, I just don't see myself doing it. And, okay, so like if I did it, it'd be in that pseudo 200-pound class or whatever. Okay, they'd want me to start from the bottom, pull some beginner matches or something. And no offense to those guys. I mean, they're good. And I'm not saying that I would slam dunk those guys, but I'd rather go to Zloty, and pull multi-time WAF world champions, pull David, pull Oleg, pull all that stuff. Not to mention the environment. I don't think I can trade that for a one-off super match. That if I lose, or let's say it just doesn't look that good because it wasn't long, and let's say I just flash pin the guy, that they say, yeah, we don't really see anything that looks good. We're just gonna hold you. We got you for 2 years.
Yeah, I see your point. Gobby, nothing? All right, we got a question from Paul Maiden. And this is a big one. Honest question for Herman, an honest breakdown of how you feel. RVJ, Paul Lynn, and Storm would go fair against, in no order, Zoloev, Rustam, and Plummen. All at 90 kgs, best of 5. Both WAL and
each
PAL.
One of those guys against each one of the other guys?
Yeah. You
want me to analyze 9 matches?
Basically is what how this question reads, yeah. So maybe pick a couple. Pick a couple. Maybe if you do a team of 3 versus a team of 3, who comes out on top?
So who are the European guys?
Zoloev, Rustam, Babayev, and Plummen.
9-0 Euro done.
Really?
Fuck yeah.
So Zoloev versus that group of Americans.
3-0.
Zoloev beats Paul. I think Zoloev beats Storm. And that's not a knock against Storm. I think Paul's just too new. Storm, don't know, never pulled the guy. He just never seemed to have like that hook, that arm type thing. And you never know. The dude's probably 220 pounds. You can't bet against Zoloev. I'd say Zoloev beats Storm. And then Zoloev and Rob. That might be tough. And I say that not because of what Rob is. I say it because of what Rob can be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you take into consideration when you evaluate Rob versus Zoloev? Do you take into consideration the current hardships on the white American man today? Like hurting his training. I mean, it's not the easiest time in the history of the world to be a white American male. So I mean,
They're the new minority, right?
They've had a pretty good run. They've had a pretty good run.
Tough times.
Highest suicide rates. You know, who knows? Maybe that American group doesn't even make it to the table.
Praise to Jesus, going right to voicemail. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah. So honestly, I'd probably have to go with Rob, and I'm just thinking about dimensions. I think Rob with that long hand, that dump top roll. I don't know if Zoloev would be able to control his arm. And that's
now, if you were to take that, does the rule set matter in that situation? WAL or PAL?
It does. Definitely WAL. Rob wins. PAL, WAF, sort of strict rules. Man, I don't know. Rob's dimensions are just so fucked that I don't think Zoloev would be able to do it. Yeah, I'd go with Rob on that one. Now, if it goes hook, I think Zoloev wins. And again, Rob's potential, he creams everybody, and it doesn't matter where it goes. But I don't know where Rob is. I know Rob's a lot better now than he was 2 years ago, for sure.
Now you're picking Zoloev because you think he's the best of those three Europeans that were mentioned?
No, that's just the first one. That's just the process I was going through.
Yeah.
So Rustem, I think Rustem beats all three. Beats all three.
That's a fair statement.
And then I think it's pronounced Plummen. I knew a Bulgarian guy, Plummen. Man, I think Plummen beats Paul. Man, I shouldn't. I keep wrecking on Paul. Paul's new though, and man, I think he beats Storm. And I don't know. Like I don't know Storm. It's hard to do this, man. And I think Rob wins. It's not that hard. I think Rob wins. I think Plummen's better left-handed. So I think when I think of Plummen, and when I think of Plummen possibly being, like super elite, I think we're thinking left-handed.
Okay.
Because Rob really doesn't get top rolled like that. So I think Rob beats Plummen.
Nice. Well, I'm looking up the next questions. There's one in the comments section. What do you think about Levon versus Dave?
Son of a bitch. Man, I think Levon wins, man. Man, Dave's a freak, but there's just little things, you see over the years. You see Dave's hand crack a little bit, at times. And I should discredit the King's move, but it happens. I think he might have got cracked a little bit against Gennady, and I was on the stage when that happened. And so some of that's okay. What side of the strap was he on, and did that even matter? Was it the setup? Was it Dave just cruising because he was beating Gennady pretty easy anyway? But when you see stuff like that, I'd have to lean towards Levon. If Levon was just if he was just the new guy and he was a hooker, he was Levon, but he was a hooker, I might lean towards Dave. But because Levon is a top roller, I'd probably lean towards him.
Right on.
And it's not that he doesn't have great endurance either, I don't think. But man, if Dave can hook Levon straight up first round, and if he can do it second round, that his hand's going to get tired. It's very hard to continuously do that over 6 rounds.
Gabi, any thoughts?
What do you guys think? Who are you leaning to?
I think both their hooks are stronger on the attacking side. However, Dave has a better defensive hook. I think that Dave's wrist, actually, even though he's got a smaller hand, I believe Dave's wrist will secure and connect higher and quicker. I have Dave high hooking him. I think he has a better wrist than Levon. Levon, because he's new, is probably getting exponentially better every month. So it's hard to quantify, but it's tight. It's like 52% to 48%. But I just think Dave's high game in terms of high hooking to his hook, to his attacking side of the table, will be enough to burn out Levon. But I could easily be wrong.
We're losing you, Herman. Yeah, my gimbal just died, so we're gonna go. Let's take this offline a little bit. Let's see where we are here. Okay, so phone battery's good. Let's disconnect this.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've broken down the match a few times before, but I could be wrong as well. I mean, we could all be wrong, but I think Levon's going to take it. I think if Dave wins, it'll be maybe the first match.
Yeah. I mean, I say it, but I mean, the best top roller on the planet is Vitali, and Levon cracked him. So I can't believe Dave has enough pronation, has more pronation than Leighton. So yeah, it's a strong. The safe bet, the smart bet is with Levon. I think, yeah.
Well, he's a lot more versatile, and he can make adjustments throughout that match. Dave, I think, has one path, and if that path gets closed, then he could be in trouble.
Yeah, yeah, he's got it all. He's got he's a fucking tank at 400 pounds. He's got a hand. He's got back pressure side. He's got it all. It's hard to try to find a weak link on him. Very hard.
Yeah, and so I got one. I'm trying to remember some of the questions that were asked. So one that was on, I guess, my YouTube page was honest opinion: Chris Gabi versus Joseph Drellick. And I can't remember if it was 3 rounds or 5 rounds. All right, Gabi, you first.
Well, Ryan Johnson out of Kansas City, Johnson. Anyway, he contacted me and asked me if I wanted to come down, and he offered me a whole bunch of potential super matches, and I said I'll only come down to pull Joe. Any weight, any arm, only Joe. I'm the one that keeps asking for it, and he'll say that I ducked him at Michigan State. I ducked him, yeah, or I didn't want to drive 17 hours one way and 17 hours back to get back to work. So when you go and you attack or you run after Dan Blanchard the year before, you don't run away from Drellick. So I'm trying to get that super match. I'm dying to have that super match. I'll travel to have that super match. So I'm supremely confident. He doesn't have the arm. He doesn't have a mega top roll, and he doesn't have the arm to beat my hook. And if Dan can't top roll me, you can be sure that this fucking guy can't top roll me.
Are we talking right or left here?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Left. I mean, stonewall him and smile at him.
Yeah, I mean, left's the money match, right? I mean, that's really what we're talking about, right? So, but he beat Matt Bourdon, right? If that's how you pronounce it. I'm giving it a French flair. I don't know if that's it.
He beat him with an asterisk. I think Matt wasn't feeling great that day, but it doesn't matter. I don't think Matt left arm budges me either. He might budge me. When I say he doesn't budge me, he might budge me 3 inches to his pin side. But then when I start transitioning to the hook, he's gonna go for a ride, just like Joseph's gonna go for a ride. I mean, I have a 200-pound left hook. Like my left hook can hang with 198 tier 3 guys. I have a good fucking left arm. So he's going to roll me? If you think he's going to roll me, you're not paying attention. And if you think he can out-hook me, you're really not fucking paying attention. So I don't know where the argument is that he can beat me. And if you think so, put the money behind him and let's fucking do it.
So let me just get some data here.
Yeah.
I think Joseph is usually 165, maybe. What would you weigh for this match? Like, what do you weigh now, and what would you weigh for the match?
I'm doing a Murph challenge, so I'm actually 150. I'm trying to get under 30 minutes on a Murph, which is a military type, Navy SEAL type deal. And because of work, I'm just trying to get my weight down. And I'm not focused on arm wrestling, but I still do train. I do some arm wrestling training still, but I can be up to 165 in 3 weeks. I can be up to 180 in a month and a half. I could be down to 143, but it really won't matter. The moving parts in my left arm, the tendons, the ligaments. I went to a tournament a month ago and I reffed, and I ended up pulling the pro 0 to 176, and I was 152. Everyone was 10 to 15 pounds heavier, and I just torched them, and that's untrained. My right arm can lose to almost anyone on any given day, but my left is a fucking good arm. It's definitely not losing to him.
Okay. Trying to fix something here, but so let's see. A 165 Gabi versus a 165 Joe. Man, I think I'm still baffled by you being 150 pounds. It's been 18 years since I was 150 pounds. It's a long time. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to compare you guys because it's just such a lighter class.
I think you're fucking trolling me here. If we look at this purely, look at the tier 3s and 4s I've beaten with my left arm, and look at the people he's beaten. I have wins over Jeremy Fraley. I have wins over Sam Harris. I have wins over. I have hard matches with Corey Miller. Stopped him in a hook, and so I've stopped his top roll. Corey Miller twice left-handed.
Really?
I mean, yeah. At the UAL, and they had one in 2013. I lost my first match. I was drawn against Corey in the first round. There were 17 in the class, and I ran right through the B bracket, beating Sam, beating Fraley. I've wins. I beat Tony Katowski that day, left arm. He had struggle losing water, so I'm sure he wasn't at his strongest. He destroyed me now. But I mean,
hey, doesn't that guy always have some kind of excuse losing weight?
But I could safely say that fresh, he kills me. But so those are the wins I have, and that's just in the United States. Who's Joseph's biggest win? Matt Bourdon? So like, come on, man, you're smarter than that, you know.
And let me ask you this: where are you, Gabi, from a shape standpoint and a commitment standpoint and all that stuff? I mean, you're on the back end. I mean, you're getting older.
Yeah.
It's just time's wearing on, you know.
Make a fit right now. I probably run a 5-minute mile. But that's what I'm focused on. But I'm not motivated for arm wrestling right now. But if I had a match with him tomorrow, I'd smoke him. But if I had a match in 6-8 weeks and I would decide to focus on it, he would just get embarrassed. I would make it a personal point to embarrass him. And you know, I'm much like you, where we can be lazy as fuck, but we also turn on that fucking laser type focus and bear down for 8 weeks like no one else. So, but it wouldn't matter. With the left, it would not matter. I can go to the gym, walk out of the gym at 145 and beat him with a fatigued arm. His stylistically, it doesn't favor him. Nothing about this match favors him. He doesn't have the record. He doesn't have the pedigree. He doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the fucking hand. And he definitely doesn't have the arm. So it's like people saying, well, you're saying it's my age. Well, if you go back in the last 6 months, I'm undefeated in the last tournament I went to in a pro class. I mean, going back the last year and a half, my left really hasn't fallen off any type of course because of age.
Well, there's been about a dozen unanswered comments from Drellick in the comments section when this part of the conversation.
Because he'll run his mouth. He just won't put up 5 cents. Like, he'll run his mouth all day because it costs him nothing.
I'm thinking Gabi 3-1. I think one you get out of position, and I think you let it go because you're out of position. I think Joe's limited because he just doesn't have much speed at all, which I think you'd probably need to like really crack you. You know. Yeah, he's got a good tech. He's got a decent top roll technically. I mean, you know, you still have to have the horsepower, but you have a stronger arm, and he has no speed advantage. So I think it'll be hard to really get you out of position.
Now we're talking about setting Gabi up with Mike Barrett in a super match at some point here. We were throwing that around. And
Mike Barrett's a former world champion and a full tier, at least if not 2 tiers above Joe, and he's also 45, 46 years old, and still 2 tiers above Joe. And that
wasn't he a 200-pound guy?
No, Mike's never been up to 200. I think he's been up to 185, 190.
He's been up to 200 pounds at one point, but not for arm wrestling. Just, getting big and.
Yeah, I think I remember him at ROTN or something, watching old videos before I started. Maybe it was the 185 class that I'm thinking about. I don't know. Yeah,
he was at ROTN, and he might have been down lower that, but in 2000, Mike is world class and still is world class.
I mean, 2007 in the overalls, I pulled Mike Solaris in the finals in the North American Champion? No, it was a Connecticut State Championship, and it was a 1-minute match, and he had to press me. Mike Solaris again left at the Harley-Pull in 2008. Of course, we're going back 12 years, but I hung Mike up for close to a minute. I mean, on the practice table, I've stopped and given RVJ a match. My left arm, now of course we're going back a decade, but my left arm, now I'm not saying I can fucking run around and smoke top 4-tier 176 left-handed guys. I'm not saying that, although I think I could pull with them. We're talking about a fucking tier 2. We're talking about a guy whose biggest win is Matt Bourdon, who's a 154 tier 2, maybe a tier 3 in the 154 division in the United States. Come on, man.
You know what?
You're smirking, Herman, because you fucking know I'm right. You know he's a fucking.
It'd be fun to watch. I'd like to see the match.
Ask you this: what if I rotate my phone? Will that mess up something?
It should be okay.
Can I rotate this? Let me get this set up real quick. All right, let's see if we can get this set up. All right, how's that?
That's
All
good.
right. Cool deal. So what's next? I'm trying to remember some of these questions. Oh, there was
Well,
one.
I can run through a few of them that were on the comments section.
I'll bring up one. One was
yep.
did I have any goofy training techniques, you know, maybe theories and ideas? I guess was I one of the people in the arm wrestling training group? And I guess I shouldn't pick. Not everyone's crazy in that group. By the way, we need to talk about the arm wrestling training group. Don't let me forget. I don't think so. I mean, I lifted weights in high school, and it wasn't my programming, but I mean, it was boilerplate type stuff. At the beginning of arm wrestling, I started with mostly powerlifting stuff. I probably didn't even start doing curls, you know, even until a couple years in. Actually, I still don't do enough curls and I have a weak bicep. I just hate curls. So I don't think I had any like weird stuff. You know, I wasn't some, you know, just odd gamer type person that has no context and is just like, I'm gonna start lifting weights, you know? So, no. Do I look back on some stuff and think maybe it was like, I think if anything, it was just maybe doing too much, right? Sometimes too much powerlifting, like 3 times a day type stuff, even though I was a legit arm wrestler and I probably should have focused more. I think some of it was maybe just going too hard. You know, I start a new guy out now and I mean, you know, I let him know, it's like, we don't ever have to go 80, 90, or even 100%. I can start you out. We'll go 50% every week or multiple times a week for a year and you'll be diesel, you know, and you'll progress faster than I did. But I remember starting and just going balls to the wall, you know, once a week, no conditioning for it, being in like toothache pains all the time, can't sleep. And then, you know, having a table at home. And so even though you just killed yourself at a Team Louisiana practice, your brother comes over and he's like, hey, I want to arm wrestle. And then your roommate comes over, hey, I want to arm wrestle. And before you know it, you're arm wrestling 4 or 5 times a week. You got stress fractures and all this shit, you know, and then you go to the gym and your friend's like, hey, let's lift. So you end up maxing out randomly, you know, or like, hey, let's go rock climbing, but your arms are already, damn, a bird just shit on me. Crap. And, you know, you end up rock climbing and destroying yourself even more. And then Craig Touye gets back into the sport and he needs to work on his hits. And the super heavyweights don't want to take his hits because they're that painful. And you're 200 pounds and you have less than 2 years experience. You say, fine, I'll take 50 to 60 hits from you every week. And before you know it, you can't curl 20 pounds because your arm's all fucked up. Yeah. So if anything, I mean, the only weird stuff, or I guess you can even call it goofy, is just being uneducated and just overdoing it. Like you just don't have to do it. It's really unnecessary. You can go so super slow intensity, moderate intensity, and probably progress faster than I did.
Okay.
Man, we got a friggin', I don't know how much time we have left. I'm definitely in no rush, but I have to ask you, Ryan Bowen versus BLM. Like, what's your take on that? We need to pick your brain on the 602.
I don't know. So I think Ryan usually ends up pulling people that are lesser than him technically, right? And I think that makes him look better than what he is. I'm not saying he's not good. I just mean if you if you gave me someone who's just a simple hooker, yeah, I'm gonna look like fucking Brasink. You know what I mean? I'll be moving around the table, I'll be transitioning and all kinds of stuff because I know the guy's not gonna do anything. He's just gonna just sit there in the same spot, you know? So I think Brennan's gonna be different for Ryan. I have no way of gauging Brennan. I mean, or BLM or whatever, Lemon. I mean, if Devin says he's good, he's good. I mean, that's the fact. I don't see Devin hyping anyone up more than what they are. So BLM has more resources than Ryan, day to day. I mean, like Devin's just there all the time. I bet. I just don't know how strong BLM is. I don't know how strong Ryan is. I mean, those numbers only go so far. And, you know, of course, Ryan's almost at Toddzilla side pressure levels based on training videos. But, of course, we know that's not true. I mean, in practical terms. I don't know. I think it'll be a good match, but I have no clue on who wins. And I don't know who I want to lose more. Like, is there a way they can both lose?
Well, by the event
That way
getting
the fans
canceled.
can win. What's that, Ryan?
By the event getting canceled, I guess they both lose.
Yeah, and then we all win, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of, I won't go there, but in the match of the two most ugliest arm wrestling styles, who do you like between Devin and Michael Todd?
Fuck me, man. I mean, Devin doing the King's move, it's probably equivalent to that feeling when you find out like your arm wrestling hero does steroids. You know what I mean? Like when everyone's like, man, John's natty, man. He's the best ever. And then when that guy finds out that he's not, like whatever that feeling is, that's probably how I feel after watching Devin do the King's move. You know, it's just like so soul crushing. So I guess my expectations are higher for Devin. So it's worse that Devin does it. So I guess I have to choose Michael.
If you want to listen to something that will, and I'll throw a plug in here, Neil's new show on YouTube, part 3, when Devin and Neil are talking about the King's move. And Devin is representing it as like the new style that everyone wants to do and everyone's training and practice. It's disappointing because nobody really loves the King's move. I mean, it's kind of a gimmicky thing at the moment. It will pass. There may be rule adjustments to go against it, but
yeah, and I just don't understand. I mean, what other sport out there exists where being disabled makes you better?
well, it's like in the UFC, some guys fight to win and some guys fight to not lose. To me, the King's move is fighting to not lose. It's like trying to go the distance every time.
Well, let me ask you this. When Floyd Mayweather runs around for 12 rounds, right? Is he disabled? Like, is he doing this in a wheelchair?
That's what I'm saying. It's
you know, like when the Gracies, and I don't know some of these sports, but when the Gracies like lay on their back or whatever the hell that stuff is, like, is it because he can't get up?
But there's always
No, I mean, these are perfectly physically capable people making a decision. The King's move is really people taking advantage of what is effectively a disability.
But when Hoist Gracie laid on his back for 45 minutes, what did that lead to? It led to the evolution of the round system and the referee stopping them for stalling. So there was rule changes to take away from the skinny guy just holding on for 45 minutes till the much larger, more athletic guy got tired and then finding a submission. So that's kind of the Hoist Gracie thing. UFC 1 and 2, that's where we're at in arm wrestling.
Yeah, and I mean, and Devin kind of talks out of both sides of his mouth. He's always talking about warfare and like cheating and like doing all you can and like killing people to win arm wrestling matches and being ready to kill yourself or something. I don't know. He's always talking about some weird shit, and people makes it seem like it's so philosophical and so enlightened. But I mean, if he's really serious, we should be doing X-Arm. Like, I don't understand how you take everything that Devin says. You know, you got to be willing to die and kill people and all this shit, and you say that the answer is the King's move. No, the answer is fucking X-Arm. You know what I mean? Chain people up, drop kick them in the head, and watch them hang from that damn chain. That seems more in line with what Devin's saying. There's such a disconnect. It makes no fucking sense. You know, I don't know. I'm so confused. You listen to the stuff Devin says, and then you watch him King's move, and it's like,
if you don't know any better, the way it's represented, you think, wow, this is the honorable way. Like, we're going out on our shield here by doing this King's move. But it's, yeah. I agree with everything you're saying at the moment.
Yeah, and then speaking of going out on the shield, you know what's going out, you know, or coming back on your shield? I remember I had a physics professor in high school, you know, and he told me, you know, come back with your shield or on your shield. And I went and I won the damn physics state championship, and I brought my own shield back. That's some real shit, not the damn King's move bull crap.
Yeah.
If I hear another story where a black guy goes and wins a physics exam competition, man, if I had $1 every time I heard that story.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of firsts on this Armed Crossfire show.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have $1.
Yeah.
You wanted to talk about the arm wrestling training group, and probably good that we do that because we got people talking about asking about side pressure training, what kind of rep ranges you work with, all those kinds of things.
Okay, so let me
And
talk
you
about the
wanna-
group first,
Yeah.
and I'll dip into some of that other stuff. So the arm wrestling training group, I think maybe Paul Lynn started it officially. It's run by Paul Lynn, Artem Taraninko or Artem Toproll, and myself. It's a very low staff group. We probably need more help. And I think currently it is the largest arm wrestling group on Facebook. Maybe there's one non-English speaking one that's larger, but I doubt it. And so originally, I think Paul and Artem were moderating it. I jumped in because I saw the group kind of going down the shitter. I think there were about 3,000 members at the time. And that's typically where most groups kind of fall apart or just disintegrate into nothingness. I've watched, I don't know, probably 10 groups build up a critical mass and then just flop. And it's because people feel like whatever they have to say is important and valuable. And it's just not true, right? The meme you share is probably not important, doesn't add value to anybody. Your sales ads, no one needs to see 10 different sales ads from a table manufacturer every year or every week or every day, or your local tournament that 10 people are going to show up to. It's a world level group. You've got 11,000 people in it now. No one needs to know about the tournament in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is where I live. So I'm not picking on anyone else's hometown. No one needs to know about all these fucking tables. We know where to buy tables from. We know where to buy this bullshit from. No one needs to see every single thing you do. It's not like your personal feed. You're not a training guru. I don't even go there and like post my training vids every damn day to a group of 11,000 people. And recently people have been getting pissed off because of the moderation. We'll delete stuff. We try to explain, but we don't have a lot of time. But like have some common decency. I'm sure some of you will see this. I hope the right people see it. It's nothing personal. If you want to share your stuff, you have your personal feed for that, right? And sure, 11,000 people won't be looking at it, but that's fine. The 200 friends you have or the few hundred people that are interested, they follow you for that reason. But you don't need to upgrade a world level 11,000 people group necessarily with your daily activities or even some of your fringe ideas. At some point, if everyone does this, the group will have hundreds of posts a day. No one will see the actual important posts, the discussions, the people that actually need help and are asking legit questions that actually feed into the overall public, right? That's the value in the group. It's the guy that says, hey, I'm new. I really don't know what I'm doing, or I'm confused about this detail point because I don't have a coach. Dude, you get 50 comments on that. That one guy asked a question that's probably going to help hundreds or even thousands of people. That's the kind of stuff that's important. And especially the flexing. People post bicep pictures and all kinds of shit. Like, what is wrong with these people? I have no clue. Like, why are you posting a bicep pic? Why are you posting a forearm pic? Why are you messaging me and leading with the bicep pic? And then getting mad when I just don't respond. I don't know. People are weird, but I'm asking you to trust the team. We're doing this for the betterment of the group. And had we not done this, this group would have crashed at 3,000 people. Everyone would have left the group, or they would have stayed in the group and disabled notifications. And then you'd go to some of those other groups, and you can go find them. You'll see post after post after post. They're all ads. And when there is a legit post, there's 3 likes on it because no one's watching. So, yeah,
so let me ask you, what is the guideline? Like, who should be posting in that group?
I mean, anyone can post. I mean, we probably need better rules, clearer rules. But for the most part, no bicep forearm pics. That's automatic clutter. I think we tried to limit sales ads to 1 a week from a respective manufacturer. And the sales ad has to have training content in it. Meaning you need to be explaining how to use the tool, or you need to be showing something or educating somebody, right? Now the community gets value out of your advertisement as opposed to you just cluttering the fucking feed, man.
Yeah.
Has
that group been infiltrated by trolls at all?
Yeah, there have been a couple trolls, and I mean, even when that happens, I mean, yeah, it's okay, but yeah, I'm not even worried about trolls. I mean, you can have some comedy sometimes. And the thing is, sometimes people have a good meme, and I got to delete it because if I let that one guy post a meme, dude, everyone's going to be posting their stupid fucking memes, and they're not all funny, and it's unfortunate. Not everyone's going to be a Herman or a Chris Gabi with respect to humor. Like it just doesn't work out that way, you know.
I
So I
know
mean,
that you.
I can't say who should or shouldn't post, but I mean, it's time to step outside the box, you know. I mean, and think about it. Are you helping the community here, or do you need help? If you just legit need help, yeah, post, no problem whatsoever. Now, if someone's posting the same shit every week, or the discussion's happening every week, and some reason you're not paying attention, and you post another question that's been answered 1,000 times, I mean, come on, you know.
So I know that we've had a few Crossfire deletions off there. That's okay. I understand. But yeah, I hadn't paid a lot. I had no idea. I actually thought that it was Paul Lynn that kind of ran that whole page. I didn't realize there was a team of moderators, and I should probably spend a little more time on there. Maybe even helping out with some answers.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good thing. And again, when you spam the group or when you post crazy shit, people like me, people like Gabi, I mean, me and Paul probably aren't going anywhere in Artem, but I mean, people like us, people like Ryan, they turn the notifications off. It's like, fuck this group. I don't need this shit in my feed. And then those newer guys actually lose a lot of resources because of all the bull crap. So just something to think about. And I mean, we don't need like 30 Arm Crossfire ads a week or anything. And you guys aren't like that bad. You're not a worst offender or anything. But if you guys said, hey, here's our latest podcast, we discuss training, yeah, that'll fly. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know. And for those that are mad, I'm probably doing most of the deletions. I mean, I've got a quick trigger, you know. And if you post something that even remotely looks like a waste of time, I'm busy. I don't have time to really vet it. I'll just delete it, you know. So.
Yeah. How are you guys doing for time?
No,
I've got all day, but I know Gabi's got to go.
No.
Okay. Well, let's cover some of these training questions, maybe, Herman, if we can do that fast.
All right. And maybe we should do a part 2. I think we probably missed some hot topics. Like
we definitely did.
like Devin and Wagner. Wow. That's a long time ago now. But man, I was just sitting here just gnawing my damn teeth.
Yeah,
Devin pulling Wagner the day before the event and people going, oh wow, it's gonna be a great match. No, it's over with.
He figured it out.
Wagner was burnt already. Devin had already figured out what he needed to do. It was so stupid. I can't even imagine how someone like Kaplan either greenlit that or wasn't pissed that happened. Fucking stupid.
Anybody that knew the outcome of that, saw that the night before, knew the outcome of that match.
And you really can't blame Devin. That's his tactic. But that just cemented for me in my mind what a fucking idiot, Wagner is. I mean,
unless he wanted to find out, but you could almost see him mentally break the night before that match happened.
And if you wanted to
guess what? And then go ahead, Gabi. I'm sorry.
Well, and if he, I mean, he obviously, any guy that says, well, the night before a tournament, before a super match with Devin, I think I'm going to get on the practice table and see what's what, has obviously not been paying attention to how Devin operates. So either he's just a fucking idiot or he has no access to Facebook and YouTube and he's oblivious to the tactics that Devin puts out there.
But we saw the exact same thing, Gabi, when he pulled Sablenkov, but it backfired on him.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's... he just couldn't exploit Sablenkov like he could with Wagner. But he's not going to stop trying. But I don't put the blame on Devin. That's what he does, and it's gamesmanship. I guess you can say. But what the fuck are you doing going to the table and actually giving your all? I mean, it was just a dumbass move, and like Herman said, it just took away from it. Totally took away from the legitimacy of that match the following day. 100%.
Correct. And not to mention, they hyped Wagner up as if he was like top 3 in the world at some point. Never has he been top 3 overall in the world. He's a WAF gold medalist, probably at 220, maybe 242, and he's the simplest arm wrestler of all time. Like, this was never going to be a good match. And so, man, that was one of the questions. What's the better format?
But Herman, but he bangs it. He plays with a puppet online and he bangs the table. I mean, don't you put in?
Yeah. So if he's into one of the questions, what's the better format for the public, WAL or PAL? It's probably WAL because the public doesn't know shit. But if you know stuff, if you know anything about arm wrestling, I mean, it's just so cringeworthy. And I guess you have to do it. But no, Wagner's never been that good, and this was never going to be a good match. Dude, Devin grabbed him by the fucking forearm. What the hell?
Yeah.
Who does that? What kind of legit match? Gabi, has there ever been a legit match where it was close and everyone wanted to see it, where one of the guys could grab the other guy by the forearm?
I've never seen that before. You're right. We've never ever seen a dad's move put in a high end super match. To be,
Uh-oh.
I've done it in certain matches, but we've never seen two elite guys do it, or any elite guys do it in a top end format, top end super match. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But then
All
again,
right, training
like
questions.
you can
Training questions.
just to add a counterpoint, like I didn't necessarily think it would be a good match because Wagner was going to be one of the top guys in the world. I just didn't consider Devin to be left arm one of the top guys in the world either. So
Well, he's not, and that's what I think was frustrating is that that match made Devin with his fanboys look superhuman. When in all reality, it's like like fucking. Didn't do that much because Wagner's credit was higher than it deserved to be, but what are you going to do? The only thing good about that match is it was left-handed, and we just hope that it opened the doors for more left-handed super matches in that league. That's it. But that's the only positive I saw out of it.
yeah. All right, Herman, I'm going to throw a whole bunch of training stuff at you in one group. We got asked about rep ranges. We got asked about styles of training. We got asked about training during the coronavirus at home. All things training, man. How do you want to wrap this into a little package? And we can definitely do a part 2 where we focus on training and stuff like that.
Yeah, so coronavirus, right? So I'm assuming you can't go to the gym. If you have a gym at home, then just do your normal stuff. If you don't have a gym at home, I would say take it as an opportunity to do something non-arm wrestling, non-powerlifting, right? Do the opposite of everything. Work your damn neck, do external rotation, stretch, do some flexibility. I'd probably say most of the work I've done this year has been that type of stuff. And it's helping my neck issues. It's helping my nerve issues. And I think I'm getting stronger, even though I haven't pulled much or lifted much weight. In particular, I think this was a few weeks before IFA and Zloty last year. My recurring neck and nerve issues flared up, which has been going on for years now. I go to the chiropractor, and my right hand registers 150 pounds on a hand dynamometer, which is not good. And my left registers 120 pounds on the hand dynamometer. I go to a few chiropractic sessions. I get my right to 180 and my left to 170, which is an improvement. And I do okay at IFA and Zloty. Fast forward, I buy my own hand dynamometer, and between just some of my own rehab stuff I've been doing, I'll hit 220 on either hand on my hand dynamometer. So arguably, I'm like 30% stronger than I was at IFA and Zloty this past year. And so I would say, like, look for some of those opportunities. You might have some stuff that's holding you up that has nothing to do with your strength. It could be that, something's tight or something's holding you back that way.
Yeah. Good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Rep ranges, I like, I guess I do everything at some point. If I'm training strength, I'm usually at the 3 rep range. 3 rep range, pushing the intensity. I think you can do that almost all the time. You probably have to stay under 90%. Although I think I've maxed out at a high frequency. At some point, you just get torn down. So you have to balance that out. You should do stuff in the middle, and you should do ultra high reps too. Sometimes I'll set a clock with some bands. And so you do minute-long sets, 2 minute, 3 minutes. And so you end up doing hundreds, maybe over 1,000 reps. But to keep it simple for all the new people out there, do sets of 3. Get strong. At the end of the day, this is a strength sport. Look at Wagner, not technical at all. And that's who we're watching on the TV and we're talking about. The dude's just that strong. And what really, I think I was already on the strength scale and like that was the focus. But Scott Mendelson, I pulled him very early into his career. And of course, this guy was not going to top roll me. He wasn't going to hook me. He wasn't going to put me anywhere on the table. But I went to the hook with him. I let him get on the offensive side of the table. And I nearly blew all my sprockets and gaskets trying to keep this guy from pinning me in the hook. Scott didn't train arm wrestling. Scott probably didn't even train his damn biceps. I mean, bench pressers typically don't do a whole lot of that stuff anyway, I don't think. but because he was so damn strong as a bench presser, he could push me to the limit. So I always tell people, it's like, keep it simple. You don't need 35 exercises. You don't need a bunch of bull crap handles. You damn sure don't need 4-inch thick handles. Go
Agreed.
get strong. You go get strong. And I don't care if it's just one movement. You can just do that one Zoloev internal rotation movement. You know, if you do 200 pounds on that, a real 200 pounds, you're going to beat me. You're going to beat me. You're not going to get to 200 pounds. But if you just focused on that, and let's say you're at 50 pounds now, doing it the right way, you're not cheating, blah, 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 and you go from 50 to 100 pounds, you're going to be a much better arm wrestler. And that's not training pronation. That's not training anything else. It really is that simple. Now, again, to be Rustam, Angarbayev, yeah, you might need more exercises. But I don't think those guys do 50 exercises. I don't think those guys do or have 50 different tools. They're just stronger.
No. I got about 5 handles that I use, and the rest collect dust.
Exactly. And I mean, and I've bought some of those handles, and I've given some of them away. I might use a couple. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be your focus. Just get strong. And let's put it this way: if you did no arm wrestling and you went bench press and you got from 200 to 350, I think you'll be a better arm wrestler.
Yeah, I think there's some validity to what you're saying there. I do have one question. What do you think of Devin's new philosophy of never training to failure?
I don't know. I was following that philosophy early on in 2010. And that's another thing. Devin didn't create that, and I don't think he claims to have created it. Yeah, he got that from the Russians, you know, and the Eastern world's been doing that forever. The stuff that I was reading and following back in 2010 was from a guy that came from a Bulgarian system. So I think it's great. I mean, it's not much different than what I do and been trying to do for the last 10 years. The only problem is that I really like to max out, and I think I have an above average ability to recover and handle the intensity. A larger person like Devin is going to be harder just because there's so much more to recover, and you know, it's just a larger body. Smaller people, I think, can recover faster. So I've been doing it for 10 years. It's kind of shocking that Devin took this long to come on board. So I support it. I think everyone should follow something along those lines. And you have to figure out what intensity you can manage at a high frequency. Some people, it might be 95%. Some people, it might be 75%.
Yeah. All right. Anything? Well, this guy's going to have a meltdown if I don't ask the question. Ryan Bowen versus Herman Stevens. I guess, how would you feel about pulling Bowen? How do you think you would fare?
Well, Ryan's been asking for a while, and he said he'd come to me and all that stuff. And again, just where I am, like, I don't care. All right, and it's not a knock at Ryan. I've kind of told multiple people this. You know, Jordan Seal asked maybe a year or two ago. Frank Hurst has asked. You know, I mean, I'm just busy. You know, I got a lot of shit going on, and if I'm in between injuries like I am now, it's just hard for me to say, "Oh, you asked for a match next month? Great, I'll do it." And then if you ask me for a match 6 months from now, I can't commit to that either because I don't know what the hell's going to be going on. So yeah, that's why I keep it to my 2 big tournaments. It's easy for me to plan all that stuff. Now, how would it go? I don't know. Ryan's completely different in and out of the strap. Would I flash pin him before he could get to the strap? Maybe, maybe not. But I don't know. The guy's solid. He's more motivated than I am. He's at 7 or 8 years, so there's no real experience difference between the two, so I don't have that kind of an advantage. He pulls more than I do. He's had more coaching than I've had. I mean, the nod may go to Ryan, you know, unless I'm just that much stronger.
I'd like to see it. Well, should we wrap her up, guys? Gabi, any closing questions?
Even unmotivated, Herman wins that 3-0. The strength differential between the two of them within the arm is a full tier. I mean, I'd love to see it only because Ryan would get slapped. And that's Herman coming out of his pajamas, like not even trained. Yeah, but I'd love to see it. And the fact that he's asking for it is respectable because Herman's a full tier above him. Anywho, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Right. And I guess closing comments, let's definitely get a part 2 in. Let's not wait a few months. Let's not wait a few months. Let's get a part 2 in. for those watching, I didn't answer earlier. I do plan on making more content. The type of content that I was making was very fun, very enjoyable. It's also very damaging. And what I don't know if you guys know is that, you might see, let's say 3 or 4 max out videos where I compare myself to somebody. I was doing all that in one workout. So I'd go and just max out on 1, max out on 2, max out on 3. And again, I think I handle this stuff better than most people anyway. But after a while, that just kind of wears me down. And I'm trying to train myself out of that like blast mentality. I'm trying to get back to a, low and steady, just kind of keep it going whole year type thing, fix some issues. And that type of training and content doesn't help me work on my issues. But I intend to be getting back to stuff, even if it's just Q&A stuff. I do enjoy it. We talk about life. I bought a house, had a renovation, a lot of work going on. I'm a real estate investor outside of this, so I'm always working on something else. And had a kid last year. He's 1 year old, and that's really where I've been since I've made content about a year ago. This has been a busy time, and like I said, most people quit the sport during this time. I haven't. I just had to back off on the content. So I'll definitely be back. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that watch that aren't subscribed. Please subscribe. It'll get me to 1,000 subscribers. That way I can have the community tab. It'll make it easy for me to interact with you guys. I don't really care about the monetization. I don't think I'll ever make enough content to make money on the thing. But it'll help me interact with you guys better and make it easy overall.
Well,
anytime.
We got 2 quick things to say, so we'll book it in for part 2 in the near future. 1 week today, we have Laba coming on here as a guest, and he said I don't have anything to talk about anymore, but I'm sure it's going to be fun anyway. He always has something to talk about. That's going to be a fun episode, and we'll look forward.
Has anyone used the name Laba the Hutt? Has anyone used that yet?
That's a good one. Hashtag that one.
Yeah, you just coined it, man.
Yeah.
All right, Herman, we appreciate you coming on the show, and we'll do it again real soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Right on. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Time to get back on the prowl.
Right on.